Hi friend, while researching in preparation for the Experience TO Leslieville Historical Tour that's taking place on Saturday, February 21st from 10 to 11:30 a.m., I've been thinking about a man whose work still touches Toronto in a surprisingly practical way. George Leslie Sr., the namesake of Lesleyville. George Leslie was born in 1804 in Scotland. He immigrated to Upper Canada, now Ontario, with his family, with sources commonly pointing to 1824-1825, and they settled first in what is now Streetsville in Mississauga. A couple of years later, he made his way to York, the growing town that would become Toronto. Before he built anything of his own, George learned to serve through his craft. He worked as a gardener for prominent residents in Upper Canada, including Bishop John Strachan and Chief Justice William Campbell. That detail matters because it shows something we often forget. Many meaningful legacies begin with faithful work that looks ordinary. Day by day, skill by skill, reputation is formed. Then George started building. In 1834, he helped found the Toronto Horticultural Society. A few years later, he opened a store in Toronto, and it became known for being the first shop in the city lit by gas, which drew curious visitors. In other words, he combined service with initiative. But his most city-shaping work began east of the young city. In 1842, Leslie leased about 20 acres of land from Charles Coxwell Small for a 21-year term. This was in the Ashbridges Bay area, and it became the foundation of what would grow into the Toronto Nurseries. By 1845, he established the Toronto Nurseries in the area we now associate with Lesleyville. This was not a tiny garden. Heritage Toronto notes that his greenhouses and extensive fields produced everything from flowers to ornamental shrubs and trees, and that by the 1870s, the Toronto Nurseries advertised itself as the largest business of its kind in Canada. The nursery grew to roughly 150 acres in some accounts. The larger story is clear either way. He built something substantial, rooted in the real needs of a growing region. He also helped scale what he built through systems that feel surprisingly modern. The Leslieville Historical Society documents how the nursery's operations included catalogs, mail order, and later the use of rail connections to distribute trees more efficiently across Canada, with farmers placing large orders that could be delivered quickly. Even today, when you see a business that grows beyond its immediate neighborhood, you are often seeing the fruit of distribution, logistics, and trust. And then, the neighborhood took on the family name. The Leslieville Historical Society timeline notes that in 1862, George Leslie Jr. became postmaster. The post office became known as the Leslie Post Office, and the area around it became known as Lesleyville. A place name is a kind of legacy. It tells you whose presence once carried weight in the community. His legacy is still visible, not just in words on a map, but in living things. Leslie's trees were transplanted to provide shade in Mount Pleasant Cemetery, in Allan Gardens, and along some Toronto streets. So in a very literal way, George Leslie helped shape the physical environment of Toronto. He planted beauty that other people would enjoy. That brings me to the life lesson. Plant what will outlive you. Planting is a picture of how life works. Seeds go into the ground quietly. Growing takes time, and the harvest is often delayed. In the same way, many of the most meaningful outcomes in our lives are not instant. They come through patient faithfulness. Do not grow weary in doing good. Keep planting, keep building, keep serving. Your impact will not be immediately visible, but it will become evident in time. George Leslie's story is not only about horticulture, it is about stewardship. He took what he knew, he served faithfully, he built with intention, and he left something behind that benefited neighbors he would never meet. Thank you for being part of this community of people who learn, reflect, and grow together each day. What's something that you took away from the message that I just shared with you? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Take care.